Yeah.
are live. No one want to turn us on. So welcome to our dailywearformedicine.com is our website. My name is Jennifer Niemeyer, and we'd like to welcome you tonight. Ramana Anamraju, it's my pleasure to him. He is the author, teacher, guidance, and enthusiast of our book, Science is Not a Subject, Science Must Be a Lifestyle. And it is a collection of 3-minute reads of very incredible from history that have to do with math and science and incorporates into the healthcare field. So Ramana's background, having a master's in physics and then studied engineering and computer science, puts him in an incredible spot to know a lot about health and science and quantum physicists and all of that information, which is very exciting. And we have a specialist tonight, and I will let Ramana take over and introduce her. But again, I want to let you know that our website, dailywearformedicine.com, and about our book, Science is Not a Subject, Science Must Be a Lifestyle. So, Ramana?
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm going to start a somber moment a little bit in a 1 minute silence I'm going to talk about my eldest brother. He passed away yesterday. And just 30 seconds of silence, 1 minute of silence, I want to do for him on his behalf. He played an important role in my life. And I wanted to do some 1 minute of silence, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Um, Today, really we need this kind of times. Sometimes personal crisis. You need a person like Rajita Bamakanti. She is a registered nurse. She's a life coach, tremendous life coach. We had before last week we had her, and everybody liked her. She gave a very interesting techniques when you're going through personal crisis like this, one in death or tragedies in life. You have to listen to her. That's one reason I really wanted to hear you have today. So let me introduce you, Rajita. Rajita, 1 second and take over you, Rajita.
Thank you, Ramanagaru. Um, Today, I just want to talk about some vibrant life secrets. What if I can share with you vibrant health secrets to discover a new you? What if I say that you have the power to take control of your healing and nurture your mind and body? What if I say that you have the power to reprogram yourself? I am Rajita Bamakanti, registered nurse, and I have been practicing nursing for over 30 years. And last few years, I have been stepping into health coaching, where I have made difference in many people's lives. So here I am, trying to talk to you. I wanted to let you know that you have the power. You have the power within you to to make a lifestyle change that's already exists within you by going to other people, doing how others want you to do. You are giving that power away. So take that power back. The chronic disease is dis-ease. That dis-ease, constant dis-ease that we have within us, is wrecking people's lives, such as chronic fatigue, stress, burnout, anxiety, depression, plagued brain fog, loss of libido. In order to feel better, people are dragging themselves through the day with sugar and caffeine, borrowing energy from tomorrow to pay today. They are stuck on the couch watching life just go away. By feeling stuck, they are very helpless and unsatisfied with life. And I am now going to share with you the vibrant health secrets to discover a new you. As humans, we are constantly scanning. Oh, you don't need to share those slides from the.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
That is yeah, much better. Actually, you talk. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
So, as humans, we are constantly scanning around us. You know, what is safe, what is danger. So, it's always we are interpreting, is this a safe zone or the danger zone? So, that interpretation is done by our brain, right? And our brain cannot differentiate what is real, what is perceived danger. It's like for the brain, it's both are the same. So if you're interpreting danger, then the stress level within you is going up, and then the inflammatory markers go up, and you have this constant stress going on all the time in our modern day life. And then chronic inflammation that causes complete chronic inflammation. Let me explain to you what is this perceived danger that I'm talking about. Let's say you have your landlord knocking at your door and asking for the rent, and you have no money to pay, and that's when your stress hormones go up. I'm like, oh my god, he's at the door, I don't have anything to pay him, and this is embarrassing to me, and your anxiety level goes up. This just you fall into that vicious rabbit hole. All these emotions keep going up, and it's brewing in your head. So our that's how our modern day stress is. That leads to that adrenaline burnout, chronic fatigue, and imbalance in neurotransmitters that decreases our serotonin level, dopamine, and melatonin. It's just a vicious cycle. So, in order to lower the stress and chronic inflammation, what can we do? Number one, breathing exercise. Breathing. You must be thinking, what the heck is she talking about breathing? We are all breathing, right? But are we breathing the right way? Are you using your mouth to breathe or your nose to breathe? Most of us are using our mouth. It's really our nose is what is meant for breathing. That's what we need to use. We are not even using, we are just about 30% of the lung capacity. Breathing has tremendous power. Why don't I ask you if you can just put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, and just sit there and observe which hand is moving? The hand that's on your chest or the hand that's on your belly? Just observe that for 30 seconds. And now let me tell you, if your chest is moving, that means that's a stress breath. If your belly is moving first, that means that's a nice relaxed breath. So when you're breathe in through your nose and let that abdomen open up first, like a balloon. And then as you're exhaling, you just contract that belly button right into you and exhale all the way through. Slow rhythmic breathing. That's what we need to do with the nose. And this is like notice when you are stressed, how do you breathe? It's very shallow breathing. Versus when you're happy, you're at your first date, how do you breathe? It's much more relaxed. So think about it. Breathing is very, very powerful thing that really, affects our, emotions, our hormones, our entire health system. So focus on that breathing, how you're breathing, not with your mouth, but with your nose. Another thing is meditation. Meditation is very powerful. You don't have to be that somebody that knows meditation. Yes, our thoughts constantly keep going on, we cannot stop that. All it is I'm saying, just sit down in a quiet place for 5 minutes and then focus into your heart center. There is a light, just, focus into the heart center where you say, you're just assuming that there is a divine light. That way, the thoughts will go each time you do it. You will get better and better at it, and you will really see that relaxed self of you, and you don't even want to get out of it. But you will be, because we have life going on, right? And then regular exercise, we all know that, you know combination of aerobic and strength training exercise. Regular exercise affects the entire body, including, your gut health, your brain health, the a whole system. So it's very important, whatever you enjoy, do that. It's You don't have to go to a gym, you don't have to pay people. It's what you enjoy, it's the moment. And eating whole food plant-based diet, that is all natural, not processed. These are all anti-inflammatory, but that keeps that inflammatory markers down. Sleep is a big thing. We all think sleep is not that important. You're all busy working. For students, you're working late nights, for people that are working projects or having fun, having parties, all of that, but you forget about sleep. Sleep is very crucial for your health. That really sets, when you're sleeping, it's not just resting your body, but it's also resting your brain. And that's when, all that toxic stuff that collects over through the day gets cleaned up. So if you're not sleeping through the night, then all of that stuff stays in. Like, think about your cabinet, which you have not dusted. You say, oh, I'll dust later, I'll dust later. So slowly that dust keeps collecting, and over time there is this thick layer, it's going to be hard for you to scrub off. So sleep, and enjoy that beauty sleep. Take that brain to the spa and enjoy your sleep. Another thing is, accept people the way they are. Try not to change them. What do I mean by that? Let's say somebody does something that you don't like. You'll be like, oh, I don't like what they did, how they did it. I wish they did it this way. Versus when somebody did something that you really like, you're very happy. So, how many people are you going to go around and fix them the way you want them to be so that you can be happy? Think about that for a second. Why not? Everybody is different. Accept people the way they are, and then just move on. That way, you know, you're not going to be stressed out about what other people are doing. You cannot change the whole world. You just have to accept them the way they are and love them. That brings me to forgiveness. What is forgiveness? You know, people do things knowingly, unknowingly. We do things knowingly, unknowingly. So, but it's the awareness. When you know they did something wrong, instead of saying, I am never ever going to forgive them for the rest of their life. When you do that, what is that you're doing? You are really hurting yourself inside, because you never forget that. You're constantly remembering, and that's what brewing on inside of you. Again, stress builds up. Whatever the other person did and walked away, they forgot about it. But you didn't forget. So just forgive people. Let go. By doing that, you're only helping yourself. Another way to do that is expressive writing. Just take a piece of paper at the end of the day or middle of the day, whenever you have a lot of thoughts going on. Instead of going and complaining, constant that complaining, it sits in your head. It's like engraving that happens. So don't complain to other people, but instead complain on that piece of paper. Write everything that comes to you, and then tear it apart and throw it. That way, you're disconnecting your emotions with that, whatever that incident was. Sometimes you might have to do that more than once. So that's fine. By doing that, you are really getting to that ground level of accepting people the way they are and forgiving. And also accepting love from others and spreading love to others. You know, You need to first learn to love yourself. When somebody compliments you, say thank you. Don't say, oh, it's okay. No, accept that and love yourself. If you are clean within and love yourself, you are going to spread that love all around you. And your inflammatory markers will be down and your inflammation will be down. And then you will be happy and you will be spreading that news to everybody else around you. You'll be that light glowing all over the place, and people can tell, what happened to you? You're glowing today. That's These are the real science-based solutions for healing that briefly I have shared with you, but in my program I go very in depth working, with people. So once you take charge and reprogram yourself and heal from within, then it doesn't stop there. You need to make that lifestyle change. Build these habits into your daily life every single day, and build a body and a brain that is bursting with love, energy, and vitality. That will be the new you by following these secrets. Thank you.
That was so wonderful. Thank you very, very, very much. Absolutely, truly appreciate it. And everyone needs that. Incredible, especially this time in our lives and been going on in the news and all just life in general over the last 2.5 years. So thank you very much. Ramona, I'll let you go ahead and
Yeah. Uh, Thank you, Jennifer and Rajita. You're wonderful. Really needed that kind of a really coaching is really needed at this time of my life and it's personally, and rest of the audience also must be. Um, this is a this is related to somewhat that what she was talking about. Rajita was talking about fractal medicine. It looks very indifferent in the title fractal medicine. What is that? But actually, more you know about it, you will be fascinated by that. And I'm going to show you a brief introductory, brief video on this. What is a fractal medicine is? I'm going to introduce you the fractal medicine concept here, and you're more than that. Let me bring that to you. Um,
For mental relaxation, early human civilizations in the East practiced Buddha's teachings, while in the West they performed rituals. One place they mastered the consciousness through meditation, and other place they altered consciousness through psychedelics. But there is another alternative technique called consciousness hacking through technological innovation. A mathematical equation through virtual reality can offer and alter and master consciousness at the same time. A genius painter from Japan, a legendary scientist from Princeton University, and an engineer from IBM came from a different walks of life, from different times, made important contributions for consciousness hacking. Benoit Mandelbrot was hired by IBM to solve a nagging problem in the early days of telecommunications. The problem is a noise popping up while sending the data across telephone lines. Noise is an undesirable or unwanted signal that gets randomly added to the actual information carrying signal. Mandelbrot noticed a fixed pattern of noise repeating across the telephone lines irrespective of the distance the data traveled. Mandelbrot recollected seeing a similar idea before, a picture of a giant wave on a children's spiral notebook. The picture is the original painting from 18th century well-known Japanese artist Katsushika Hokusai. It is called the Great Wave of Kanagawa. Look at any part of the Great Wave, it looks very similar to the whole wave. The whole contains the parts. It looks counterintuitive, but the part also contains the whole. Their artistic expression gave rise to a new concept in mathematics called fractals. Mandelbrot discovered nature's fundamental unit repeated through a geometrical pattern. The same geometrical pattern is present everywhere in the clouds, seashores, trees, and even in the human bodies. The nervous system looks very similar to that of a lightning. The EKG of the heart signal is strikingly similar to that of a noise signal in telephone wires. If you further zoom in into the signal, the strange looking pattern emerges. The pattern is discovered by Mandelbrot, bears his name Mandelbrot set. The nature around you, the snowflakes, trees, mountains are built from these series of Mandelbrot sets. We can also observe Mandelbrot sets at the beginning of life in a woman's womb. The equation that governs the nature is spectacularly simple and displays the nature in exquisite details. Before the public understood the power of the Mandelbrot sets, Hollywood jumped in. The Star Trek movies with the fractals put the movie watchers in a trance. There is a similar, a different kind of a trance was described by an American botanist, a former New Age hippie, Terence McKenna. He frequently experimented with a psychedelic brew called ayahuasca. He chronicled his experiences through books and videos. Amazonian Indians consumed this brew on ceremonial occasions. Terence McKenna claims this brew produced visual and auditory hallucinations while his eyes were closed. He claimed his experiences profoundly changed his outlook on life.
Many of them, and they come pounding toward you, and they will stop in front of you and vibrate, but then they do a very disconcerting thing, which is they jump into your body. They jump into your body, and then they jump back out again. And the whole thing is going on in this very high-speed mode where you're being presented with thousands of details per second, and you can't get a hold on, you say, my God, what's happening?
In recent studies by Johns Hopkins and New York University Langone Special Unit Psychedelic Medicine Center conducted studies with the psychedelic drug psilocybin in a controlled environment. The chemical compound in psilocybin is dimethyltryptamine, in short called a DMT. The studies show a single dose of psilocybin dramatically reduced the depression with the subjects of research. Interestingly, the visual hallucinations the subjects describing look very similar to Mandelbrot fractals. In the years before, Albert Einstein published a theory of general relativity, a profoundly mind-bending way of looking at nature. Mass tells space-time how to curve, and space-time tells mass how to move. Gravity is not a force, it is an illusion created by the bodies moving in space-time curvature. Einstein deployed a very different branch of mathematics called non-Euclidean geometry. We don't experience non-Euclidean geometry in our everyday lives. American Airlines pilot explained this phenomena through a tricky example. The shortest route from Dallas to Hong Kong is first Dallas to Seattle, then Seattle to Alaska, then Alaska to Siberia, then Siberia to Mongolia, then Mongolia to Hong Kong. That is the shortest route. But you see on a flat map, it creates an illusion the Hong Kong is directly right across Dallas. But if you combine Einstein's non-Euclidean geometrical concepts with the Mandelbrot fractals, watching in a virtual reality devices, it is truly a technical wonder. It produces mind-feasting, kaleidoscoping patterns where all your visual channels are fully occupied. It puts you in a trance and gives you same bliss without inducing substances. Fractals are nature's artistic expressions. Now you are in tune with the nature. Welcome to 25 milligram DMT experience without a DMT. Consciousness hacking through technology is a mass mental relaxation technique for modern humans. Thank you for watching.
Um, Thank you. I prepared that's a fractal medicine. That's introductory kind of video. I prepared everything to explain that more in detail, but unfortunately, my brother passed away yesterday. So I don't want to cancel it. So I uh, I just prepared a small tribute to my brother. Not prepared. I just am going to talk about it. Oh, what kind of a role he played, particularly in science and engineering. I my love is always science and engineering. That's where I will connect with people who have that kind of traits. My brother is a personifies that. Top of that process. Um, Let me bring it a little bit. Uh, no, that's I don't know why it is showing that. So I'm just sorry. Like, okay. Sorry. So anyway, I'm going to talk about my brother a little bit. I was mentioning about it. Um, just a minute and give me 1 second. I'm trying to bring my brother. He spent most of his life in Canada, um, and all his accomplishments are stellar. You know, uh, um, that that is my brother. In memory of him, I want to talk with you about what he did in his life. His name is Rao, and Cecil Rao. His long last name, like complicated names, like from India, Andhra Pradesh. Um, he was, death may be tragedy, but life is not. He was a gold medal winner in his academic life. He earned a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from Andhra University, Vajak, where I went to school. I did my master's in physics, uh, and master's from University of Toronto, Canada. Came to Canada when he was 24 years old. He came to Canada, and then he finished his master's there. We are from a rural, remote village. I always talk about it in a place called a town called village called remote village called Palakoderu in southern India. The village has no, it had no electricity, no running water, non-existent healthcare system. Um, for us, the village, for us, our family, and for the village, my brother was the definition of education. My father was genuinely proud of his educational accomplishments. In fact, I have a fond memories of my brother's visits to back home when I was going to primary school. From his schools, universities, while he was doing engineering and bachelor's and master's. One summer, we got a logarithmic engineering slider rule. I was fascinated by that, and I brought some of my friends to see. That is like an immense pride for me in showing that to my friends. The one summer, he brought a own designed radio, small radio, from to my village. Believe me or not, at that time we had a one radio in my village, one radios. The people that they press the head of the village, and there's no other radios. He designed a radio, and then from his university and brought it to our place. And first time we heard, it is nothing but sort of celebration for us. The voice coming from a shoebox. He designed in a shoebox. It's not just a design. It looks like a shoebox. It is a literally shoebox. You put all these things, transmitters, everything there. it looks, I thought, is a rocket science to me at the time. And then, all my friends, it was all the village people gathered to listen to the radio. That was so he came to Canada. He was the forefront of the energy sector in the Canada. He was part of the design team for the Condu nuclear reactors. Condu is the natural uranium reactors. United States, we have reactors, nuclear reactors are enriched uranium. It's a huge process. It is a very complicated process, very expensive. And then Oak Ridge National Laboratories that they do enrich uranium. Um, so, which works on a natural uranium is the Condu reactors are natural uranium reactor. He was one of the prime designers, one of the designers for the Condu reactor design team. So he is working for a company. Then with that nuclear reactor so popular in the world because the natural uranium, you don't need to process it. Processing is very complicated. So he was traveling to. He went to South Korea. He was there for 10 years. He was in Romania for a few years. So he spent a lot of time in these countries to develop the nuclear reactors in those countries. Canada, he was one of the. Then he spent several years abroad. Then he came back to Canada, and then he started. He was inspired to create a power plant, not a nuclear power plant, just a small cogeneration power plant. They call 25 megawatts, small. It can supply to my village, maybe two villages around there, 10 villages, maybe two, three villages around that area. They can supply the electricity. So my brother wanted to. So when he was there, I saw an article there saying that Canadian government wants to give us the funding for the study of the feasibility study to see if there are anything there possible that nuclear energy, not a nuclear energy, regular energies, cogeneration power plants. It's 25 megawatt, very small, low level power plants. So he went, he had all the exposure to the world. He traveled around the world. He could have picked up any place he wanted to. He picked up my village. That was kind of emotion to me. He first he was reluctant to deal with the governments, bureaucracies, and then I just pushed him a little bit. I was a business guy in Atlanta, so I pushed him. You have to do it. It's just you could be. So, but he was reluctant. He was around in the politics. He was reluctant to bribe Indian. So anyway, Canadian government gave him a grant, $1 million grant, and he took a lot of people from Canada to my village, to show. And then there's a paper mill there, Delta Paper Mills in my hometown. People built it, so he wanted to supply power to them. Everything is done, but as you know, India is at the time developing. Still, is in the process in the villages. Is the lot of corruption, political corruption is highest at that time. So you cannot do legally, you cannot do the any, or he was like he's particularly he's so honest. He's a true engineer. He was reluctant to do bribe any corrupt politicians. So they dropped the project off. They didn't sanction the project. Think about that. This is truly they should know. They should be ashamed of this thing. Why they did not proceed for that. Now the people are suffering. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have energy. They shut down for 4, 7, 8 hours a day at that during those times, and they did not sanction his power plant. But he came back to Canada. Then he was involved in the forefront of another challenging engineering is called nuclear fission. Nuclear fission. The regular nuclear reactors are fission. It means you split the atom and then produce the energy E is equal to mc square. That's the energy comes out, and then you that with that energy you boil the water and you run the turbine with the boil with the steam. You run the turbine. Basically, you have to boil the water, run the turbine, and that produce electricity. That's what it is. The energy required to produce electricity is the nuclear energy. There's some we use a coal, we use hydropower in Niagara Falls. So those kind of things you can do. But the nuclear is a nuclear fission is like a splitting the atom. It's kind of a sometimes it's people thought is unsafe. Some dangerous situation like that what happened in Japan during those days that contamination can spread out in 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania. 3 Mile Island there was an accident. A lot of people, there was a big cancer outbreak was there. So he was but though it is a very small, that kind of a chances is a lot smaller than the people who die on the interstates. But nuclear fission is a kind of a challenging. But they went into the next level of nuclear fusion, which is a clean. There is no radiations. Is a nuclear fusion is the cleanest one. But there's a engineering challenges or engineering challenges are there for that nuclear fusion. Means you bring the two atoms together like a sun. Sun produces energy through nuclear fusion. So when you put the two atoms together, that produces the huge amount of energy, but it's a clean energy. But it's uncontrollable energy. You have to control it. So the magnets they control it's called tokamak magnets. So it's a donut shaped tokamak. So he worked in the forefront of the tokamak technologies. He was in the beginning of the nuclear fuel. Right now, yesterday there was a news. France was coming to closest to the nuclear fuel energy, nuclear fusion energy producing. That is going to be the cheapest and the fastest and cheapest and safest one. So he was in the forefront of that. As you know, he spoke French fluently. He was a very fluent speaker of French. So Quebec is a French-dominated place. So there is a lot of connection between the France and Quebec, and France became the leader in the nuclear fusion tokamak area. So they are the ones number one now in the nuclear fusion. It is coming to reality, in fact. So people like my brother was behind the scenes for these kind of things. So is on most people don't know what the engineers do. You have to really they save lives. They produce energies that require that we need to do other things. Operating room to be operated, you need electricity, you need energy. People like this behind the scenes produce and save lives, and we don't acknowledge them enough. And my brother is one of the top people. Always thought he's one of the he was my hero, and I miss him. He was a brilliant engineer, great father, loving husband, and brother. Rest in peace. Thank you so much. We don't have anything we don't want to do. Thank you so much for attending the show. Thank you.